Well, hello, friends and neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and welcome to Crafting and Whiskey. No, I'm just kidding. It's still just a whiskey channel, but instead of a whiskey nook, I have my wife's craft nook. Threw a little bit around here, so we know we're talking whiskey. Let's talk some bourbon. So, I've got this small batch, Four Roses, which in my market's actually really hard to find. So, I took my time getting to know this bottle. But if you have a little Four Roses or any bourbon, why don't you pour a little bit? When we come back, we'll talk about this Four Roses small batch bourbon when we get back. 3, 4. Thanks for staying with me through the break. I assure you again, there's no crafting on this channel. It really is just a whiskey channel. Just try to find a nice place to shoot a bit about some bourbon with you guys. So, Four Roses. I have to say, Four Roses comes with a lot of street cred and a lot of great information on their website. For a whiskey geek or nerd or whatever you want to call me, I like everything there is to know about a whiskey, right? I want to know about its mash bill. I want to know the distillation. I want to know the cask, the age, anything and everything you can give me. I want to know about it. And Four Roses, aside from being really well liked on YouTube, comes with a lot of different yeast strains and mash bills, and they create like 10 different varieties based on combining all those different things. And this small batch, says, it's blended with the 4 original proprietary bourbon. They don't say, just say bourbons, because if you say blends, it could mean something else. So, it's got mash bill, their higher rye. I think that's B. I could get this wrong, but mash bill B, which is like 35% rye, and then mash bill E, which is 20% rye. So they've got 2 varieties that have each of those mash bills. And then they've got 2 yeast strains. One is fruity and one is spicy. It could be K and O. K-O-B-E. Go to their website. It's really a nice treat. And it says, this is between 6 and 7 years old. All that different coolness going on. And how does it come together? Well, it's released at 45%. Let's talk whiskey for a little bit. So this nose is both sweet kind of like honey brown sugar, and a little bit spicy. Don't get a lot of floral notes or even a lot of fruit notes. Maybe cooked apple almost, but it's not a bright. Well, the sweetness takes it maybe out of that range, but to me, already, it's playing a little more dry and spicy with a sweetness kick. That's kind of where it's staying. Let's try it on the palate. Hopefully you've got a little Four Roses to see if you get the same kind of thing. Cheers. That is a good classic bourbon profile. It again, plays in a little light toffee, a little light caramel. And then as the oak comes back, it's like you're cooking it down, right? So you get a little more cooked brown sugar. It's edge of bitterness for me. Spice is nice though. Better try another little sip. So this is great bourbon. And certainly, as I was leading into the beginning, there's so much information, just really scratches that itch for those that want to know what's going on. Good presentation, good looking bottle. Got it at a decent price, was surprising because it's like never in my market. But it comes up a little short for me. And actually, it's interesting because 2 of the yeast strains, 2 of the mixes talk about being fruity. And for me, that is a little bit my criticism of this bourbon. It is nice and spicy. It swings between sweet and an edge of bitter. It's got lots of oak for me, lots of oak. And I like it, but it feels held back. I don't know how to explain it, especially like, so many guys on YouTube really enjoy this bottle, and I could see why, but I don't like it as much as I thought I would. I thought I was just gonna gush on this one, and it's good bourbon. And it's solid information, and it sits easily 3.5, 3 3/4, which is a great mark, which means this is good bourbon. but you do pay a little more, even though I got it at a good price. And I just wish it had a little more richness, something to get me over the dry spice of it, something that's a little more juicy, or a little, I don't know. But if you like them spicy, I think you could enjoy this bourbon. You know, for a quick comparison, I actually picked one of my favorites, Still Austin. It's out of Texas, and it's a young one, 2 years versus 6 to 7. I have forgotten the mash bill on this one, but I picked it in my mind, like, as I try to find bourbons that in my mind are a little bit similar. And so this, to me, I remember it being a little more of that kind of dry spice in a bourbon than more, you know, like a candy Bing cherry sweetness, or Jim Beam peanutty, that kind of stuff. I thought, well, let's see what this one goes like. So we'll try it on comparison. It's a little richer. My mouth waters a little more. There's more cinnamons instead of just cracked black pepper. Try it on the palate. Cheers. Well, now that's interesting. I've been raving at this. This is over 4 stars for me. And it still is, wow, just a nice perky, poundy bourbon in there. It's got good character, good backbone. But I'm almost missing something. Now in context, I'm going to come back to the Four Roses. No, it's still a little flat. A little kind of spicy and slightly bitter. Yeah, this is a richer nose for sure, more molasses. Try it on the palate. So interesting. I do recommend, as you're developing your palate and just, you know, having fun with some whiskey, to try, you know, pouring against different things that you have kicking around your cabinet. Bring a bottle over to a friend now that we can, you know, and share yours, share theirs, that kind of thing. Because I find, in comparison, in reasonably quick comparison, as opposed to my very flawed memory, but in comparison here, this just becomes pretty dry and not rich enough, whereas this holds up. As young as it is, it's got a little more, I'm going to say juicy. I'm trying to put my finger on it, but a little more richness that thickens it out, right? So instead of cooked brown sugar, I've got cooked brown sugar and molasses. Instead of, oh, is that a fruit? I've got a little bit more something kicking around in there. Thanks for staying with me here in this crafting whiskey nook. I tried to make it look as much like whiskey as I could. I grabbed a few tins that I have kicking around and put it against the wall, and we'll see how it turns out. But it was nice to just share a moment with you guys. Hope you're having a great weekend. It's a long weekend, so hope you're having a great Labor Day weekend. Take care.